Dogs, Cats, and the Pandemic. Hi, my name is Wayne Randolph. I am a Worcester grad. I graduated numerous years ago. Like many of you out there, I enjoyed my Worcester experience. I enjoyed it at the time, and I continue to appreciate the value of Worcester to this day. I am a veterinarian, a currently practicing companion animal veterinarian. In my practice, I see mainly dogs and cats, some small mammals, a few monkeys, and the occasional buffalo. My wife, Wendy, not a veterinarian, and I own and operate a veterinary practice in Flemington, New Jersey. We have been here and worked together for 40 years. I do the medical and surgical stuff, and Wendy runs the place, and our life actually works pretty well. I have been blessed in that I love what I do. My vocation and avocation are the same. Veterinary medicine is the only thing I can ever remember wanting to do. I can remember back to the 3rd grade when one day in class each student was asked what he/she wanted to do to be when we grew up. In my turn, I said veterinarian, and I was required to write the word on the board. Never look back. I speak to you today from our home. We live right down the street from the clinic. This proximity is our personal choice and really a requirement for us because we spent so much time here over the years. On the table, you will see 2 of my hobbies. This is Wally, a bronze box turtle. Wendy and I maintain a box turtle sanctuary. Then you will see 2 of my skulls, a horse and a camel. I collect and prepare bones and skulls over many years and not hunting related. It is no secret that our dogs and cats, our furry 4-legged friends, bring to us a great deal of joy, happiness, comfort, and inner peace. This is called the human-animal bond. In this time of coronavirus crisis, it is necessary that many of us are confined to our homes. You and I may not be too happy about this, but our pets are probably thrilled to have us home for this extra time. When the quarantine is ended, our pets, most certainly will miss the extra time they shared with us. But this floats both ways. We also will have enjoyed the extra time we spent with them. This coronavirus pandemic is a horrific situation which continues to affect all of us in some way. It is a pandemic and not an epidemic. What is the difference, you wonder? An epidemic is a disease which affects a large number of people within a community, a population, or a region. A pandemic, on the other hand, is an epidemic which has spread across large, wide geographic area and has jumped across continents. Think of a pandemic as an epidemic that travels across the world. The current disease is called COVID-19. This disease is caused by a virus, a beta coronavirus named SARS-CoV-2. In nature and across the world, there are countless other different coronaviruses which affect a wide range of animals. Humans get coronaviruses, which are contagious from human to human. Examples being SARS, MERS, and the common cold. But COVID-19 is a different and newly observed coronavirus. It is believed to have spread from bats to humans, most likely through the food markets in China, where this is cultural practice. Some newer information, however, suggests that a Chinese laboratory may have been the source. A great deal of scientific study is currently being conducted across the world and across many disciplines, institutions, companies, and countries. This in order to learn more about the virus and the disease that it causes. As one interviewee quoted, "This is a disease nobody knows anything about." But be content and not alarmed regarding your own dogs and cats. At current time, WHO, the World Health Organization, the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, and the AVMA, the American Veterinary Medical Association, all agree there is no evidence that domestic animals, this includes pets as well as livestock, no evidence that they can spread COVID-19 to people. Having said that, there are a few related issues worth mentioning. Nadia, a 4-year-old Bronx Zoo Malayan tiger, was tested positive for this virus recently after contact with an infected zookeeper. And a few dogs in Hong Kong tested positive for the virus. A recent study on the website of the journal Science showed that ferrets, cats, and golden hamsters can be experimentally infected with the new coronavirus. But there's and there is some suggestion that COVID-19 human patients can spread the virus to cats. But there's absolutely no evidence, no strong scientific evidence whatsoever that dogs, cats, and ferrets can spread the new coronavirus to people. So there is no reason not to continue to cuddle and snuggle with your pets as you have always done. Please continue that. Now, we all know that COVID-19 positive humans ought to quarantine themselves from other non-infected human households in order to prevent spreading the disease. Well, it is now recommended that COVID-19 positive humans ought to consider to distance themselves from their pets. The reason for that is that the dog or cat could act as a fomite. A fomite is an inanimate object or some material onto which a disease-producing agent can be transferred. This means that the virus from an infected human, through pet hugging, petting, and snuggling, could be transferred to the fur of the dog or cat. The virus could then be transmitted to people by means of touching the pet's fur, in the same way that people pick up the virus from a surfaces such as countertops, walls, or grocery cart handles. So it would be prudent as well to quarantine the household dog or cat for some days post-recovery of the human patient for the same fomite reason. Now, in non-infected human patient households, which is the majority of us, it is important to remember that our dogs and cats like and depend on their normal routine. Just like you and I do, our pets like their routine. They must be fed and watered routinely. Forget not good cat litter box maintenance and care. Do not feel the need to suddenly start giving extra treats, pet food, and people food, just because you and I are home on quarantine sabbatical. 50% or so of America's dogs and cats are already overweight or obese. Let us not compound the situation just because you and I are home and it seems fun to give the extra snacks or food. Our dogs need exercise also on a routine basis. So do what is normal and typical for your pet. If, for example, your dog normally does a short or medium walk around the block, do not suddenly feel the need to extend this abruptly into a 5-mile walk or jog just because you and I are more available and have more time. Do not start to throw a frisbee or a ball for 30 minutes when your dog has not done this before or has done it for only a short time. It's a time to use our heads and good judgment, do the right thing. Although we do not want to overdo some things, keep in mind there is definitely plenty of time and room for excess in the forms of playing, snuggling, talking, and socializing with our pets. You just cannot overdo kindness, time with, and socializing. As a side note, it has been unequivocally shown that lots of socializing in the weeks before 5 to 6 months of age in the life of a young puppy make an indelible positive effect on the future demeanor, attitude, manners, and social wellness of the adult dog. Interesting. In the case where our pets have some ongoing or chronic medical surgical issue, let us not to forget to attend to that care. Forget not also the ongoing need for the administration of meds such as flea tick products and heartworm control. Now, in this quarantine time, some dogs and cats live with families in homes and households with an abundance of human members. That is great, but it is not true for all of us. Some pets live in households with only 2 people, and there are lots of households with a dog and a cat and only 1 person. If a pet lives in a home with only 1 or 2 people, and this persons becomes ill, maybe even hospitalized, that dog or cat could be abruptly in deep doo-doo if there is no advanced planning. Advanced planning is needed in the case where upon sudden human coronavirus illness or hospitalization, no one is available to care for the dog or cat. These potential arrangements for boarding or pet care really ought to be considered ahead of time. Always the best choice for the pet, when it is possible, is to leave the pet at home and arrange for someone, friends or family, to do the animal care. If this is not an option, then make potential boarding arrangements in a facility or another home. Depending on geography, there may be community organizations which can help in time of personal or financial crisis. A reach out to your home of worship or to a local service club such as Rotary is not a bad idea. But the issue to think about is to think ahead and to plan. Depending on situation, there may be the need to create a go-to bag. That is a supply kit for your pet. This ought to contain at least the following: veterinarian's contact information, any medications with instructions, food for 2 weeks, a cat carrier, leash, collar, and ID, flea, tick, and heartworm medicine, selected toys and treats, anything else you seem important, and preferably a written sheet with all appropriate information. Charity, benevolence, and basic human kindness suggest there are 2 things that healthy households might consider to do. Number 1, look out into your community to identify certain potentially at-risk households which might potentially require emergency pet care in the event of a pandemic illness or hospitalization. Then be willing to help in some way. Number 2, not all of us may be aware of the number of households in America which need some help in feeding their pets in normal, non-pandemic times. Wendy and I help a little bit with our local charity called Animals. There are probably multiple organizations near you. In this pandemic time, this need to help these people is increased. Perhaps you could look locally and reach out to assist in this regard according to your abilities. All this help is needed and it is appreciated. During this crisis, veterinary medicine in most cases has been determined to be an essential service. Most veterinary hospitals are open, but they are providing what is called curbside service. Clients, for the most part, are not allowed inside the clinic. The process is that the client telephones or contacts the hospital electronically, and the hospital staff instructs the client as to the procedure. Medications or special foods are carried to the client automobile by clinic staff wearing gloves and a mask. Routine elective medical and surgical cases are not being seen by most hospitals, and wellness visits are not being scheduled as well. But sick patients are still definitely being seen, most cases again using this curbside technique. Patients requiring illness and hospitalization still have access to all that. Smaller veterinary clinics may have reduced hours, but the large veterinary mega hospitals still operate 24 hours per day, 7 days per week. Clients can still speak with their veterinarian, get meds and special foods, and receive urgent care, medical and surgical care when needed. For any questions at all about your dog and cat, your very first call should be to your veterinarian. Most clients would agree that they enjoy a good, even very good, or often an excellent and warm relationship with their veterinarian and their veterinary team. Call them first with any questions, problems, or issues. We will get through this. Will not be easy, but we will do it. For Wendy and for me, we continue to be reminded on a daily basis how much love and affection are given to us by our two whippets, Norman and Archie. Stay safe and hug your pet.